New Army captain tries to end her career. The background. I used to be an armorer in the U.S. Army. I was the person in charge of securing and maintaining all the weapons. I was stationed overseas at a base that only had one arms room. And I was the guy who ran it. So instead of just being responsible for the weapons in my unit, I was responsible for all the weapons in the entire post. On paper, that's a job that's supposed to be done by an E6 with a two-person support staff. In reality, the position was chronically short-staffed. It was just me, as an E4, doing the job of 3 people. Because the position was critical to the operations of a bunch of different units, including things like PSYOPs and Special Forces where everything about them is classified by default, and joint operations with the Navy and Air Force, and a few foreign militaries who were working with the U.S. I had to get a security clearance that was higher than everyone else in my own unit. As far as I knew, there were only 4 other people on the post with clearance high enough to do what I did. And they were all officers. This led to some amusing situations where I was accidentally called for security briefings that were way above my pay grade. That sucked because I was on call all the time, and had to go to work anytime anyone needed a weapon. Being on call was supposed to be a duty rotation, but I was the only one who could do it, so I slept in the arms room a lot. I wanted to make sure I had as little to do as possible, so I got very good at my job. How good? During an Army-wide review of the entire supply chain, my post was found to be the best-run arms room in the entire Army. I won a medal and everything. Then we had a change in command, and the new captain hated that I didn't have to go on training exercises because I wasn't allowed to be more than 30 minutes away from the arms room. Ever. The compliance. The new captain was absolutely determined to take me on a training mission. She'd somehow gotten it into her head that I was a slacker. Which I absolutely was. But only because I was efficient and pissed off that I never got to leave the base. So she drew up a bunch of paperwork to sign the arms room over to the supply sergeant. I refused to sign, because the person with all the ammo and the person with all the guns are supposed to be different people. Next, she tried to sign the arms room over to the PSYOPs company commander. I refused to sign because that commander had become a friend of mine, so I knew he was required to leave the base weekly for security briefings. Finally, she tried to sign the arms room over to our company's supply lieutenant. I tried to explain that the lieutenant didn't have high enough security clearance, but she cut me off. She said she was tired of my excuses. Then she ordered me to sign, and threatened me with an Article 15. I wrote, under duress, on the paperwork. She didn't even look at the signature. So I sent an email to the warrant officer who was in charge of logistics for the area. He was the guy who'd given me the award I mentioned earlier. So he was pissed when he found out what was going on, and went on the shitty little weekend training exercise and basically enjoyed my vacation. That sequence of events happened on a Friday afternoon. The chief didn't get my email until Monday morning. On Monday afternoon, my captain was relieved of command. I eventually had to testify at her disciplinary hearing. My second favorite part of the whole experience was the supply lieutenant, who got a slap on the wrist for inadvertently obeying illegal orders because he hadn't learned the regulations before signing, saying, "Is it like that for you all the time? This has to change." My favorite part was the full bird colonel in charge of the hearing asking my former commander, "Your soldier was awarded for being the best at his job in the entire army. After he refused your orders the first few times, why didn't you start asking questions?" Quote. Warrant officers know their shit. Signing, under duress, was brilliant. I love it when there is a change of command. There is always some sort of drama like this and it's hilarious. And it always seems to be an officer trying to change everything only to leave a mark. And boy did she leave one, lol. Being relieved of any command means she won't be getting promoted anytime soon and will fall behind her peers. Sucks to suck. After he refused your orders the first few times, why didn't you start asking questions? Quote, absolutely this. If someone who has been there a while says no to a reasonable order, you need to find out what it is that you don't know that turns it into an unreasonable order. Your soldier was awarded for being the best at his job in the entire army. After he refused your orders the first few times, why didn't you start asking questions? Quote, this touched me in my happy place. Nice. I wanted to make sure I had as little to do as possible, so I got very good at my job. The best reason for being good at something. Also easiest to backfire if you lack the leverage to say no. I was in USACAPOC and the one thing I learned there is never, ever, even think about messing with the cook. S6, S3, and the arms room. I have seen dude being handed a Gulf War era M16 because their M4 was under maintenance. I would have loved to have been a fly on the wall in that hearing. I kind of picture you as that one armorer from Archer. In a kind of, I don't give a fuck about you but I do give a fuck about rules and regulations, sort of way. Kudos, and delicious MC. Great story for our military stories too. Most important thing to remember, never fuck with the SPC-4 Mafia. I used to be an armorer in the US Army. I was the person in charge of securing and maintaining all the weapons. So that's what armorers do. And here I thought they were just there to keep me awake all Sunday night after re-cleaning my unfired weapon for the 10th time after a last-minute weekend FTX. It probably did end her career in the sense that she was most likely never promoted to major and got out when her commitment was up. I eventually had to testify at their disciplinary hearing. Automatically elevates any story on here. My favorite part was the full bird colonel in charge of the hearing asking my former commander, your soldier was awarded for being the best at his job in the entire army. After he refused your orders the first few times, why didn't you start asking questions? Quote, also my favorite part. With that clearance you marketable on the outside. I want to point out that she did in fact end her entire career. Officers are in an up or out track. She needed to continue to be promoted and have bigger and better assignments in order to stay in. The mere fact that she wasn't drummed out of the service at that hearing does not mean she was allowed to stay in. Her career could not survive being relieved of command. I love this, but quick aside, armorer has to be the coolest fucking job title. My justice boner is harder than a diamond in an ice storm right now. I may need a cigarette. She pissed off the warrant officer? Out of all her mistakes this was probably her most damaging. Everyone knows Chief don't fucking play and what they say kinda goes a lot of the time.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epicaricast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.